The robots are coming, and so is a jobs revolution. A wave of automation and digitisation is predicted to shake up the Australian workforce. Experts are divided about exactly how many jobs will be lost, but some are warning nearly half of all jobs Australians currently do will be obsolete in the next 20 years. Unlike previous waves of innovation which hit blue-collar workers, this time it's white-collar service jobs that are most at risk. This week on The Business, we'll be taking a closer look at the costs and benefits of innovation and the jobs of the future. Carrington Clark has the first report in this series.
The fourth industrial revolution is underway. Already, robots have moved off the factory floor and into the orchestra.
This is a robot that's now on stage at the Sydney Opera House, where he's usually on a conveyor belt lifting cans of beans on and off.
The latest industrial revolution is characterised by intelligent robots and machine learning. Baxter shows how quickly technology is taking over.
Baxter itself is 6 years old. If you think about 6 years old, 6-year-olds themselves, like every year they're learning so much, and I think probably within the next year we'll have it fully automated.
But it's not just musicians at risk of being replaced.
Over the next 20 years, approximately 44% of Australia's jobs, that's more than 5 million jobs, are at risk of being disrupted by technology, whether that's digitisation or automation.
And it's not who you might expect.
The sort of job losses we did see in the manufacturing sector in Australia, the car manufacturing sector, are going to get into the administrative services and financial services sector in downtown CBD postcodes, and that's the big challenge that lies ahead of us.
White-collar workers in Australia were the big growth sector over the last 30 years. We were the beneficiaries of globalisation, and it's going to be a shock to the system when we see not just the growth temper, but we actually see a decline in those types of jobs.
In the heart of Sydney's financial district, an Australian financial startup is threatening to shake things up. StockSpot claims that by using algorithms and automation instead of people, they can provide better financial advice at a cheaper price, making a range of high-paying jobs obsolete.
Well, so far it hasn't happened, but financial services employs about 10% of our workforce, and really a lot of those jobs are unnecessary. A lot of research analysts, stock pickers, stock brokers, they don't actually add any end value for the end consumer.
The technology behind digital currency Bitcoin is called blockchain, and it threatens to seriously shake up the industry.
Blockchain and distributed ledger technology, if it plays out the way we think it can, and this is a technology that's sat behind the Bitcoin currency, which can be used for smart contracting or auditing purposes, it could turn the job of 100 auditors into one.
The job losses in finance have already begun, with Westpac reducing its headcount over the last year. But the real hit is still to come. A Macquarie analyst recently predicted the Big Four might look to shed 20,000 jobs over the coming years. It's already happened overseas. In the decade following the Great Recession, the banking workforce in the USA dropped by around 500,000 people.
The reason we're behind the US and the UK is that we didn't go through the financial crisis as badly, and that flushed out a lot of people from the industry. So I think a lot of people are still in these stale jobs in banks, and it's not until the banks have to lay off people over the next few years that actually the fintech industry and this disruption will really flourish.
Technological change also presents massive risks for the big financial services companies.
With blockchain and distributed ledger technology, if it catches on and really works, the scale-up is really quick. It might not be that our banks and our insurance sector has the fast follower option. You know, just watch what happens with the technology. If it takes up, then we'll adapt.
It's not just the threat of startups. The big tech giants are also continually innovating and threatening to push further into the finance space.
Apple may be a better place to be a bank. Google may be a better place to be a bank than an actual bank is, because it has the technology that facilitates the transaction. So the competitive boundaries will blur.
Young people eyeing off what are currently lucrative career choices will be forced to reconsider their options, as the traditional finance jobs are superseded.
I came into the industry at the very top. It was around 2006 when I joined, and we'll probably never see that level of salaries and bonuses and craziness in financial services because of these structural changes that are going to happen.
Baxter's performance was popular, but many of those watching might not realise how at risk their own jobs might be.
This is already kicking in, the boiling the frog syndrome that we're experiencing at the moment. You might not realise it, but already we're seeing some jobs disappear or some jobs being restructured because of automation and digitisation.
Workers may no longer be applauding the advance of the robots.
Carrington Clark there. Tomorrow night we'll bring you the second part of our innovation series on the universal basic income. As jobs are lost, will we need to pay everyone a basic wage?